Yo, what's up? It's Edward Placencia, and I'm here to tell you guys a little story. This story is kind of funny. You you might not believe it at first, but trust me, it's real. It's the story about when my grandma accidentally drove or ran over my foot. So how it started was I was around I like to say 8 through 11 years old when it happened. I'm not too really sure. But it was just a normal day, I was sleeping. I woke up, got ready. Though it wasn't a school day, it was like on Saturday or something. So I got ready, woke up, but I have a cousin. And that cousin, I'm really close to him. In our house, my house was like, they were literally, we could walk to each other's houses. We lived right by each other. So he walked over to the house and he told me, hey, let's go to Twin Falls. Because we lived in a small town in in Idaho, named Hollister. And Twin Falls was like the city. It wasn't really a city, it was just like a bigger town with more stores in it. So we went. And I was like, okay, let's go, because I want to hang out with him. So we went, and I went over to his house, and the other people who were going with us was my grandma, my uncle, and my grandpa. So it was 5 of us. So we were driving, we were skirting all the way down to Twin Falls, like brrr, driving. And we went to Fred Meyer, and Fred Meyer is like this actually happened in the parking lot of Fred Meyer. So 20 minutes after we got to Fred Meyer in the parking lot, and my grandma, she was looking for a parking space, and she was, it looked like she was parked at first. She parked, but as she was parking, her and my grandpa were arguing about something, I'm not sure what. So I saw my uncle, he got out of the car to go into the store. And I saw him, so I was trying to follow him, but what I can hear was my grandpa saying, dale, 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 dale. And like telling my grandma to, in English that means go, 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 basically. To tell her to, because she was parking and she still had more room to park. So she can drive ahead a little bit more. So when I got off, I was facing towards the car. So my foot was right by the wheel. And she drove it. Like it was my fault though. She drove over it. And I yelled, I yelled so loud because my uncle was still right in front of me. And I was like, Uncle, Tio Med, you know. And he turned around and he saw it and he ran and he pulled me. He pulled me out of the wheel, basically. My foot out of the wheel. And I was just in shock. They were like, my uncle told my cousin to call 911. We were at a store, Fred Meyer, and if you don't know what Fred Meyer is basically a store like Walmart. Basically exactly like Walmart. They have a food section, toy section, electronics, clothes, and like a little restaurant inside. And they have a pharmacy. So my uncle went in the pharmacy and got one of the doctors so he can look at my foot. And when he came out, I was crying, because my foot just got ran over. And I didn't know if it was broken or what, because I didn't want to stare at it, because, I thought my foot was going to be squashed and blood was going to be everywhere and stuff, and that my foot wouldn't work anymore. But when the doctor came out, they took my shoe off, and then he looked at it and he said it was really swollen. But I asked him, is my foot alright? Do I still have a foot? And he's like, yes, calm down, you still have a foot. And I just stood there so relieved. Though I didn't stand there, I was laying down. Because my foot couldn't take my weight. It just got ran over. But then, the 911 people come here, the ambulance get there. And they pull me up in the gurney and they put me in the car. And my grandma goes with me. And on the way there, like when we first get in the car, she was like, it was an accident. She kept telling the guy that it was an accident. And it was an accident, an accident, it was an accident. But she kept telling him in Spanish. And I translated for them. And I told them it wasn't her fault, it was an accident. You know, I got off before she was parked right. And the guy told me if I wanted an injection for the pain. And I told him, I asked him if he can show me how big the shot was. And the shot was like that big. So I was like, no, thank you. Because I hate shots. I was too scared to get the shot. Like my foot, it was kind of throbbing, but I couldn't really feel it because I don't know, probably all the adrenaline. Like I just got ran over. Like what the fuck, you know? And when I got to the hospital, they did all these kind of scans on me. They like put my foot like in a little styrofoam thing, so they can make a cast for it and put in my foot. And it felt weird. And they took pictures of it, and then they gave me like a cast, and they put the cast on, and I couldn't. And it was a lot harder to walk. Well, it wasn't really a cast because I don't think my foot actually broke. It was just sprained, which was really lucky. I don't know how it didn't break because the car was like a Pathfinder, which are an SUV. It's a lot of weight. So I don't know how my foot didn't break, but it didn't break, which is good. But, so they gave me like the boot, one of the black boot things, and I wore it to school. It was pretty cool because everybody asked me, what happened, And I just kept telling them, my, my grandma ran over my foot. And they couldn't believe me and they would just start laughing and stuff. But it was true, my grandma did really run over my foot. Now I have a story to tell everyone. It's pretty funny. And ever since that day, well, my foot works. It works almost perfectly right now. But like a little after it, I had a part like that was kind of numb for a few weeks. But then after that, everything went back to normal. Except like I can't kick as hard as with my left foot now as I used to be able to. But that's it. Like I was lucky, it didn't break, it didn't get injured or anything. Like really injured. I just got sprained foot.